The Trump administration has turned American cattle ranchers into raging bulls. See what I did there? With a new policy to cover up for Donald Trump's inability to bring down the cost of ground beef. On Wednesday, President Trump signed off on a new policy which will remove tariffs from 300,000 metric tons of imported lean beef for 90 days, which, coincidentally, sunsets right after the midterm elections. Back to that in 1 second. Donald Trump claims to have a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices. It is a betrayal of a core campaign pledge from Donald Trump to America's farmers to make it easier for American companies to sell their products against foreign competition. So, where is this beef coming from exactly? Let's ask the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins.
What specific countries have been in talks with the U.S. about stepping up those beef imports, aside from Mexico, which you just detailed?
I am not privy to talk about that. I think the conversations are still going on, and that's Ambassador Greer, who's finalizing what exactly that looks like. And I think the president's involved in that as well.
That's Ambassador Greer. You would think the Secretary of Agriculture, of all people, would know where the imported beef is coming from. I'm not privy, I think she said. So, while the details on this mystery meat are scarce, here is what we do know. The price of ground beef has gone up since Donald Trump returned to office. At the start of Donald Trump's second term, the price of a pound of ground beef nationally was $5.50. Today is $6.89. That is an increase of nearly 24%. That brings us back to the timing of all of this. Remember, we said the policy is set to run out just after the November midterm elections, and it is an election that is being defined by the rising cost of living. That issue is something Donald Trump is underwater on in poll after poll after poll. And the move has led to a growing number of Republican senators, look at them all, bucking the Trump administration on the policy. They're urging the White House to reverse course. But it's the farmers of America that are really giving Donald Trump the horns. As my colleague Alex Tabbitt recently spoke with farmers outside of the great Iowa State Fair. Watch this.
It's ridiculous that we have taken now, the time when so many farmers are under economic stress, to make it easier for a product to come into our country that our farmers want to grow. We're very proud of what we grow. We want to put a label on what we grow saying this is a product of the United States, and we're proud about that. To open the door to bring more product from overseas, that's not what consumers want, and it doesn't help our farmers at all. In fact, it puts us at a huge disadvantage. It's a huge move in the wrong direction.
No duh. We're back with Scott, Alex, and Sam as well. Alex, the tariffs, he loves to tout them as it's going to be the thing that drives the prices down. He's reversing course, I guess, for 90 days with the mystery meat. It's an admission, obviously, that the tariff policy is across the board not working, is it not?
Yeah, which is why he's literally cutting off his nose to spite his face, robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm not sure which metaphor works best here, but like if the goal is to endear voters to the Trump administration, the way to not do that is by screwing over some of your base voters, including farmers and ranchers, which is what he's doing with this mystery meat decision. Jacob, the short-sightedness of this administration will never cease to gall and surprise me. But the fact that they can't actually articulate where the meat is even coming from.
Where it's coming from.
It just makes me think that they don't actually know. I mean, maybe Jamieson Greer knows, but I would think that the ag secretary should know, but then you put it in the panoply of the suite of cabinet officials that have, this week are, we have a Health and Human Services Secretary who's overseeing one of the largest and most deadly measles outbreak in the United States of America. Our Treasury Secretary's economic D-Day is landing like a whimper and doing nothing to measurably change outcomes in the war with Iran. Like, none of these people have any idea what they are doing. And so, yes, not only is this policy bad on its face, substantively, it sounds entirely half-baked. That's not a beef metaphor, but it is a kitchen metaphor for you.
It wasn't Bobby Kennedy's whole thing, eat American beef, and they had this whole hamburger campaign. I don't know. These things are stuck in somewhere in my head watching RFK Jr. eat hamburgers at some chain picked by the Trump administration? Whatever. Scott, I would love to read you, by the way, some of what Republican senators are saying about all of this. Roger Marshall of Kansas said he, quote, did not think this was the best idea on the president's part. Deb Fischer, Nebraska Republican, described herself as, quote, extremely disappointed in the decision by the White House. John Barrasso from Wyoming, number 2 Republican in the Senate, said Americans want U.S. beef on the table, not Americans want U.S. beef on the table, not foreign imports. Why is this the issue that has helped Republicans find the courage to criticize Donald Trump?
If you can indulge me and put those graphics back up, the top one really tells the tale there, Jacob. It's Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas, who had that statement, I don't think this is the best idea on the president's part. He's up for re-election. It's not a cakewalk in Kansas this cycle, and this is not helping matters if he's on the wrong side of the beef prices. But here's the thing. National Farmers Union joins all these Republican critics. The Iowa Farmers Union, as we heard, joins the critics. But it's also an oversimplification of the issue. This impacts local farmers. It impacts what we pay for beef. But beef is just one of the 100 things we buy at the grocery store that cost us too much. We all know, those of us who do the shopping on Saturday mornings, it's $4 for that loaf of bread. It is, for some reason, $6.50 for the sugar cereal my kids insist upon. All of this adds up. The beef, if you're going to get after the beef prices by November 3rd, if it can even happen by then, you've only taken a sliver of the cost price issue off the table.